Hey there, YouTube. Today we're going to be looking at the Troy Arms Control Pistol Grip by Madbull. Alright, so comes in the box is obviously the pistol grip, the control plate at the bottom, and then the hardware to install. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and a 1.5 millimeter Allen key. I'll put all that to the side. So safety first, obviously. First of all, you want to make sure your battery is disconnected before doing anything. We're using my Classic Army AEG here. It's a M15A4. You're going to start by removing the two screws on either side of the control plate. I can call it a control plate. Alright, that's simple. Out with the old. Set that over here, that's the old one. You can compare these together, and they're very similar in stylings and size, everything. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm going to talk and do a review. So one thing we need to do is on the Classic Army, you have each side, and it's marked with a plus. So this side is positive. So that's the hot side, red wire. The negative side is on the opposite side, of course. So you want to keep those wires and remember where they're at. So here you're going to pop off the connectors. Now, because it's a Classic Army motor in here, they're clamps, they're not actual screws. So we can just slide them right off. Okay. Okay. And remember that the wires go to the back of the grip. So then we can slide the motor out. Which is easier said than done. There we go. There's the motor there. Oh, in its glory. Okay. So now you've got, in this particular grip, there's two more Phillips head at the bottom. So you gotta take your screwdriver and get down in there. It's kind of hard to see sometimes, but it's not too difficult. Okay. And so if you look at the Troy one here, so that's the Troy one. If you look at that one compared to the stock Classic Army one, they're relatively similar in size, shape, and even design. The difference is going to be the actual pattern on the grip. Pattern on the new one looks much more effective than the one on the Classic Army. Classic Army has the diamond pattern on each side of the grip, but it's not very sharp, so it doesn't do well gripping if your hands get dirty, or if you're not wearing a leather or rubber type glove. So then once you get the screws out, you can pull this out and pull the wires out carefully, remembering that on each side, or at the end of each wire, you have a twist for that clamp. Okay, so the screws are still down in there. So real quick, we can take a look at this. So the setup is identical, of course. The size, the grips are better. The grips go higher on the Madbull one than on the classic Army one. And the grips on the back is horizontal rather than vertical, giving you a better overall grip. Your hand doesn't slide up and down. You also got the grip on the front with the Madbull, where you don't have any grip on the front with the stock, except for a little finger nub. So we can set the classic Army aside, and we now have the Madbull to put in. So with the Madbull, it has a place for 4 screws. I'm going to wait to do that. What we're going to do, we're going to start with the black wire, and we put the black wire to the front, the red wire to the rear. I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Red wire to the front, black wire to the rear. You just kind of fit it in on each side. Okay, yeah, I kind of have to force it down a little bit because of how it's built, and it's going to fit very snug right over the trigger guard. And you want to make sure your screw holes are lined up perfectly. And they are. Okay, so once they're lined up, take your Phillips head screwdriver again, and take the silver screws that come with the new foregrip, or new grip, sorry, and slowly put them in. I'm going to tilt this up because it's going to be a little easier to get the screws in there without dropping them all over the place. I'm going to pause it while I do this so I don't look like I'm crazy. Okay, so I did it differently. I dropped the screws down there first, and then I'll run the cables through. Reasoning B, it's much easier to put the screws in without the wires and the hole for the motor to go into interfering with it. So that's how we did it. And that's how I would suggest you to do it as well. So then after you get the screws in, go ahead and feed your wires through. So they're actually coming through and everything. Don't get stuck halfway. Okay. So as you're getting close, you're going to have to start driving those screws down. You want them tight, but not too tight. You know, tight enough where they're not going to really move around as you're running and come free. You don't want them too tight where it's going to cause damage to the gearbox or anything. once you're all in there, pull the wires to the back and make sure that you have enough room for the red one to wrap back around to the front. You're going to drop your motor in. Remember that the positive side was forward. You're going to reconnect each of the terminals. And press that plate down, and you can use your 1.5 millimeter Allen key and screw in the bottom screws. Which often, for some reason, don't like to go in. Make sure it's lined up properly for you to drive those Allen keys in. Simple as that. After about 10 minutes upgrade, you have a new look, a better grip, you're ready to go. So I would highly recommend upgrading to a new pistol grip. Stay fresh.